So the big talk of the day is that the PlayStation VR2 is off to a slow start. It's the end of the world. Oh my god. It's not doing as well as Sony would hope, or as Sony fans or PSVR2 fans would hope. Is this really a problem? I wanted to discuss this today. Now, I do own a PlayStation VR2, and just straight up, I absolutely love it. The technology is amazing. It's an extremely high quality headset, and I'm not a Sony fanboy. I'm not here to bash Sony at all. I just want to kind of discuss things and how I could see this becoming a huge success, possibly anyway. I think it's somewhat of a success at the moment, but yeah, I'm not a fanboy. I just like games, man. I'm not the kind of person to like, oh, I only like Sony or I only like Xbox. I like them all because I want to play games. That's just how it goes, man. Like, as an example, today I saw this announcement about the Diablo 4 Xbox Series X bundle, and when I heard it or I read the words, I was like, oh my God, I'm buying it because I love Diablo. And then when I seen it was just a basic Xbox Series X and basic controller, I was like, never mind. Now, if PlayStation, I know the whole thing with, Blizzard and Microsoft, but if PlayStation had a PS5 Diablo 4 limited edition bundle that was all custom and whatnot, I would grab that. It's just the things that I enjoy, the things that I'm into. So yeah, there's no, hate towards any company here. I just like gaming and criticize equally. When I see things that are wonky, bring it up. When I see things that are amazing, bring it up. And there's things wonky and amazing about every console that's out there right now. But with the PSVR 2, with this news popping out on Bloomberg is where it's being reported. And you can't read the article on Bloomberg unless you subscribe and, pay and all. I don't freaking know, man. Hey, screw you, Bloomberg. You ain't getting nothing from me. But I started looking at this and the other places that were reporting on Bloomberg's article. So it's like, why pay to read an article when other people are going to report on your article anyway, right? But I recognized his name. I don't know this individual, Takeshi Mochizuki. And I was like, they've been reporting on a lot of things like that, right? That people have been talking about. And I've seen some reports and stuff and people bringing these things up in like Reddit, the PSVR Reddit, about this journalist who like, I don't know. It seems like there's some bias maybe. I can't confirm that because I can't read the the Bloomberg articles, but they've brought up, interesting notes here about things that they've reported that turned out to be like, no, that's not true type of thing. And they state even Microsoft's called this guy out for making up numbers, fictitious numbers and whatnot. So yeah, kind of strange, but this is also being reported elsewhere. Like I said, IGN and a few other places to kind of see more what they were talking about. And they're saying that a research firm, IDC, reported, and that's where Bloomberg's getting these numbers, that there's 270,000 PSVR 2 headsets that were sold since February, since the launch of this device. And that doesn't sound like a ton of units. And I think it's a lot of units as far as an accessory type of thing. At first, hey, they got to get that steam rolling. The launch was a little, kind of off in certain regards, in my opinion, where it was like in the US, you could only go through Sony Direct. They didn't have these sitting in stores anywhere. You couldn't go to, maybe in Canada, I think I've seen like stores had them, certain other regions, but in the US, you couldn't go to like Best Buy and be like, oh, there's a PSVR 2. And the advertising wasn't crazy or anything. So maybe it's just a little slow start. I don't know, but I still think those numbers are fairly respectable. Like when you look at the PSVR 1, which I also had, and I like that headset. It was like a trickle of games with that. And I would imagine with the VR2, it's going to be the same thing. Like you're not going to have a major release every week. It's kind of still in that niche thing, not every gamer is going to want to jump into VR. It's just the way it is. They have to entice people. And I think one way to do that is to have demos out there, advertising units in stores and all that kind of stuff. But the PSVR 1, not even in a half a year, I believe it was about 5 months, they sold almost 1 million units. So like that was kind of a slow build up to respectable numbers. And they had a decent market share at that time, going up until the Quest came out. And with the Oculus Quest 2, numbers have come out to say that they've sold like 20 million units. That's nuts because I think, you see the Oculus Quest 2, it's in stores online. You can find it. A lot of people talk about it, and it's an excellent headset. and it doesn't require anything else. And I have one. I do enjoy it, but I hadn't used it a lot until after I got the PSVR 2 because I wanted to revisit it. And the one thing is I've never since I had the Oculus Quest 2, I've never plugged it into a PC and tried PC VR gaming. So I did that and I was like, wow, like this is kind of cool. It's not perfect, but that started making me think like, hey, tethering the Oculus Quest to a PC, I got this big cord. It's not really too much of a drag, but the Quest 2 is cool that it's wireless. The PSVR 2 is wired and it can only be used on the PlayStation 5. And I understand the barrier of entry with the PSVR 2 is you have to have a PlayStation 5. So you're in it to win it over a grand. And that might be a tough pill to swallow for some people. The Quest 2, a lot cheaper, but they have up their price. So we have two Quest 2s in my house. I'm glad that I bought them when I did instead of paying the higher price point. But with the PSVR 2, what I think would be awesome is if it was enabled, like if they did some kind of update to it to allow you to use it on the PC. That right there would make it like the ultimate freaking headset. Plugging that bish into your PC, playing some Steam VR, that would be amazing. And I think people would be like, holy crap, I don't even have a PS5. I might buy one of those and get a PS5 later, right? That would really up the sales drastically for the VR2. But at the end of the day, it's like the Quest 2 was enticing. And if these numbers are correct with the 20 million units, it was enticing because of the fairly reasonable price point and that it's wireless, that it's just you don't need anything else. And then it's multi-purpose. You can wire it to a PC and use it that way. And it really enticed a lot of people to buy them. And it's an excellent headset. Like when the Quest 3 comes out, I'm going to grab one of those as long as it's not like over a grand or something. But, I've embraced VR, and I don't think as many people as these companies would hope have. And with console specific VR, that's why you don't see VR across the board. You don't see Xbox doing it. You don't see Nintendo doing it, other than the cardboard Labo thing that was it was dumb, man. Like nobody used that. Maybe for a second, just to for novelty purposes. But these other companies, they're not doing it because it is so niche. And for Sony to continue on with it, and that's the one thing I'm glad is like, yeah, I was kind of hesitant with it, and I'm still happy that I got it. Even seeing some of this fear out there that hey, it's not doing well. So yeah, there's a possibility if it doesn't do well, that companies aren't going to want to invest in it. As far as making games, right? And that is a worry that's legitimate. If it doesn't sell well, and the games just kind of stop coming out, then yeah, that's going to suck, man. It's going to suck for people who own one, and it's going to suck for Sony in general, because then potential customers will be put off because they're not seeing, continual big releases and whatnot. Like a lot of the small stuff, the cheaper games are really awesome, but these big title, Resident Evil 4 remake with VR, like that could be a selling point, right? I'm talking about stuff like that, big releases. You need all those little ones that are really like cool little fun experiences, but these big games, you need them as well. And if that falls off, yeah, then we have a problem. But if they enabled being able to use this damn thing on a PC, that would just kill it, man. That would kill it. Like big time. That's really what I hope would happen. And I know, PlayStation having their games going onto, PC and whatnot. Who knows? Maybe that's in the works. Maybe it's something they thought about. It's just something in my head. And I'm sure other people have said the same thing or had the same thought. Who knows if it'll ever happen? It's just a dream. Like if they did do that, that would help sell the units and push people into VR, help create it to not be as niche as it is. I mean, there's a lot of VR users out there. Like the Quest and the PlayStation offerings aren't the only options out there. There's plenty of different headsets. And so there's a lot, the installed user base of VR. There's a lot of people out there, but it's small in comparison to people not with VR, right? We're not to the, Ready Player One world where everybody's walking around with a VR headset and you're like, what the heck are they doing? Like running around town and stuff wearing these things. We're not at that point yet. And I don't know how long it would take to actually get there. If it ever got there, I don't know if it'll just always stay niche, but it can be a profitable thing that has shown that it can be profitable. So hey, I'm hoping for the best with the VR2. No hate towards Sony, but once they start getting these things in stores and it's not direct from Sony, I think that'll help a bit. Advertising, that obviously helps. More games, bigger releases, that helps. And hey, if they ever enable it to be used on the PC, it's the end right there. A lot of people will be grabbing these things at the price point that they're at with the screens that they use for your your viewing and whatnot. It's a quality headset, man. Let me know what you guys think. Appreciate y'all. Bye.